Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be reacting to DarkViper in his video where he's responding to Apollo Legend, sadly who killed himself, I think today or yesterday. This is his response. Basically what happened is Apollo Legend kind of said that DarkViper pushed him over the edge. That resulted in his death. And then DarkViper made this video basically explaining the whole situation. So let's begin.
It has been confirmed that Apollo Legend has ended his life, and I feel like I'm going to get some people asking me why I was mentioned in any capacity with.
So firstly, if you notice his body language there, he's not looking at the camera. Now I know he has a monitor down to his right, which he's obviously looking at stuff on, maybe reading some notes that he's written. That's understandable, but he's not making any eye contact with the camera, which is a very strong sign that he's kind of ashamed. He sees the whole situation as super awkward and he really doesn't want to be making this video, as is the case with all these apology videos I react to. I know this isn't an apology, but it's kind of the same sort of thing. He feels really awkward about it and it's understandable.
Situation. So 2 years ago, almost to the day, so
if you notice there, his voice changes completely. It sounds almost as if he's about to cry. It's sort of very whiny, and that just shows how much emotion he's going through in this video. He's feeling a lot of emotion, a lot of stress, and he clearly, doesn't want to be making this video. But yeah, he has to, because obviously if someone accuses you of being responsible in their suicide, you can't let something like that go, basically, so he has to make this video.
Turns out, I made a video about something Apollo Legend did. I had 2,600 subscribers.
Again, his voice is just changing, which just shows how much emotion he's going through. In his other videos, he never really does that. I can't imagine what he's feeling right now, because it's a very, very difficult situation to be in, but his body language is telling the signs of someone who's incredibly stressed. And I mean, more so than any of the other videos that I've done, any reactions, he is deeply, deeply saddened by this, based on his voice. The emotions that he's going through now are so present and so strong. It's kind of sad to watch.
He had almost 200,000. But I was so disgusted by a video where he came out.
Again, a lot of rapid eye movement there. Now that is a very strong sign that someone is stressed. So again, all backing up the same idea that he's incredibly stressed by the situation and he's going through a lot of trauma in talking about it.
Criticizing a charity organization for disassociating with a white supremacist, white nationalist. Not only did he criticize the charity for disassociating,
he's doing a lot of nodding when he's speaking there. Now, nodding isn't a sign of that someone's lying or telling the truth. It's a non-verbal cue that basically shows the person wants you to believe what they're saying, and based on the rest of their body language, you can kind of tell whether they're being truthful or not in what they say. So the nodding is basically him affirming this is what happened, this is true. If he was lying, it would usually be coupled with some pacifying behaviors because he's trying to enforce it, but then the rest of his body language would be telling a different picture. So it's very difficult to fake being honest there. So that's something important to note. And as I say in all of my videos, you need to get a baseline before you do anything. So a baseline is basically watching someone's nonverbal communication, so their body language, for a period of time, longer the better basically, and then seeing how much that they deviate from that baseline when presented with a stressor. So in this case, the stressor is making the video. So if I was doing a professional analysis, a long-term study of this, I'd watch all of his other videos, I'd then compare those to how he speaks and acts in this, and then based on that deviation, you can tell certain things. If he was asked a difficult question, like, did you kill someone, as people are asked in crime investigations, and all of a sudden their baseline shifts dramatically, that then shows that they're either incredibly uncomfortable or they're trying to hide something, and you can basically build a picture. But the more content, the better. So let's carry on.
With this person. But he did not inform his audience of the evidence that led to this conclusion, and so presented it as if
a lot of open body language. So basically what open body language is when the body is displaying signs of openness. Now I know that sounds kind of stupid, but hand gestures, finger pointing, which he does in this, all signs that you're comfortable and you're expressing something. Now, this is an interesting thing to note here, is that although he's showing a lot of stress in his body language, he's not really doing much distancing. And distancing is basically when we try and distance ourselves from what we're saying. So he does look away from the camera quite a lot. He doesn't maintain much eye contact. But the fact that he's willing to display open body language and actually articulate points when in an incredibly stressful situation does show very strongly that he's being very sincere and very honest about things. It's very difficult to fake open body language, but he is doing it effectively here. Not faking, but displaying it. And that does show that he's confident in what he's saying. So although he's going through a lot of stress, and you can tell that by his voice, the most stress I think out of any video that I've reacted to, he's still able to display confident body language, which means that he's strongly set in what he's thinking. He completely thinks that what he's saying is true, accurate, and almost right. And yeah, he's confident in himself, but he's, again, experiencing a lot of emotion. And I think that is because he's been accused of leading to the death of someone. And we'd all be experiencing sadness in that. So yeah, let's continue.
Oh, people just calling this person names, it's nothing really. When in reality, like, years of logs from this Discord were released talking about the inferiority, the inferiority of blacks, how the Jews run everything, we should have a white society and whatnot. It was not that garbage you see on Twitter where everyone calls everyone an Nazi, saying this person was legitimately a white supremacist, white nationalist, depending upon what.
So what he's saying there is very truthful. He's looking at the camera when he's saying it a lot. He's displaying open body language. These are all tells that someone's telling the truth and being quite honest in what they're saying. Unless they've spent years studying deception and how to fake your body language, it's very difficult to do something like that. And he's a YouTuber. He's not a body language expert, so he's not going to really be able to fake his body language convincingly anyway. So yeah, he's being truthful. He's being honest about what he's saying here.
Term you want to use. I found this so disgusting, and a lot of people did. There were a lot of comments calling him out for this, but there were also.
Notice how his pitch changes there when he goes, a lot of people did. So he sort of jumps from one point to another, which does show that he's trying to remember some stuff. It's kind of not scripted. It doesn't look scripted. It looks very sort of off the cuff, impromptu, and it's all coming from his head. That's, again, very difficult to fake. If you're lying and you're making something up, it's very difficult to show emotions if you're making something up. So if something's not true and you're remembering it and you want to say it as a point, it's very difficult to then also think, okay, what body language am I supposed to be giving off when making this point? So he raises his voice. He rapidly cuts into it as if he's remembered it and he's displaying it honestly. That's incredibly difficult to do if you're lying, because when you're lying and you make a point, you don't really spend time thinking about, okay, well, what body language do I need to be giving off when I'm making this point, and what is the relevance of that in this given context? So, yeah, this whole video is screaming truthfulness, honesty, and sincerity, and confidence. He is confident in what he's saying, which does add to the fact that he thinks that he's in the right. That's what I'm getting from it.
And so, as small as a content creator as I was, I said on stream that day, wrote a script, explaining how horrendous I find.
So notice the pauses and the changing in pitch and the sort of exaggerated body language. This is the sign that someone has no idea what they're saying. And that's a good thing, because it basically means that he's thinking about it on the spot, which is something that liars don't do. Liars don't really make stuff up. They don't recall things impromptu. They try and plan what they're going to say. He is just all over the place with his body language. He's exaggerating parts, speeding up parts, increasing the pitch, and then stopping, and then starting again. That is all signs that someone's deep in thought and deeply contemplating what they're going to say. Whereas if you're lying, you think of what you're going to say and then you deliver it in sort of an unexpressive way, because it's very difficult to think of what your body language should be. And even if you do attempt to fake it, that body language will become exaggerated and you'll miss certain things out. So if you look at my other videos, when people are lying, they try and exaggerate their head movement. So they're like this, they lean in, but none of their other body language is suggestive that they're being truthful and honest, and they try and exaggerate parts. So, yeah, excessive head shaking, for example, when you're trying to make a point, doing it constantly, but then none of the body language matches that. So he's shaking his head to try and portray that he's telling the truth, but he's also then, his body language complements that, which is a very strong sign that he's being honest and truthful. And that's sort of the easiest way to catch out a liar, really, is inconsistencies in their body language. I'm expecting him to be distressed because he's been accused of being responsible for someone's death by the person who killed himself. He's having to justify himself to hundreds of thousands of people on YouTube, again. So you'd expect him to be incredibly stressed, all over the place. And you'd basically, because he's trying to come off as confident and he thinks he's right, you'd expect him to display some signs of confidence as well in what he's saying to try and convey to us that what he's saying is truthful. He's doing that continually. So nothing out of here is out of normal for someone who's innocent, someone who's trying to convey a message in an effective way. So yeah, no deception I'm detecting, none whatsoever.
These actions to be. Since that day, Apollo Legend never acknowledged
Microexpression. So microexpression is an expression that we show for a short period of time and really gives us an insight. If you notice in the clip just then, he sort of exaggerated something. He sort of, not a smile, but he did sort of an angered facial expression. That just shows what he's thinking and feeling, and that's understandable. It's not anything to indicate that he's lying or anything like that, because he is rightfully angry. He's been accused of something and he's vigorously trying to defend himself.
To any significant degree this criticism. And over the time since that video, just more and more amazingly hate-filled, disgusting comments continue to dominate that video until he unlisted it. I don't know how long ago, maybe 6 months. Even when
just look at the body language. He's so open, he's so confident, and he's expressing emotions in a very strong way. He's angered by this. He is angered by this, and you can tell that from his body language. He feels kind of hard done by. It's not justified, and he seems confident in what he's saying. That's what I'm getting from all of this. Again, these videos aren't to say who's guilty, who's innocent, is he responsible for that guy's death. That's not what this is about. This is about looking at his body language, and I'm telling you what his nonverbal communication is. And it's up to you to make the judgment as to whether you think they're guilty or not. Although I think, matters like this are best left to the police or people who do it as a job. I mean, I don't really care about drama, to be honest. I just make videos.
my video released, it had something like only like a 65% like ratio. So bombarded was I with Apollo Legend and the people who thought like him and the person who he was trying to defend. So for the next year and a half, I had...
So I kind of want to correct myself here. He is now increasing the amount of body language, showing that he's trying to basically not distance himself. So he's looking at the camera. He is looking down to his right, but there's a monitor there, and he keeps looking down there. I think he's got notes there. That's perfectly fine. When you've been accused of something like this, it's okay to have notes. That's not a bad sign. That's not indicating that you're being deceptive or anything. You need to know what you're going to say when you've been literally accused of being responsible for someone's death. So, yeah, he's got notes, which is understandable. He's not distancing himself from the conversation. He's actually coming closer to the camera. His body language is open. He seems confident in what he's saying. None of this is someone who's trying to get away from the situation. He's actually, and this is quite respectable of him, he's actually taking this one and he's fighting it. And he's confident and he's trying to convey that. He's trying to convey that he's not responsible for the guy's death. He's trying to convey how he's right. He's not trying to avoid it. Whereas in other reaction videos that I've done, they have been all over the place because they don't want to make the video. They're trying to hide, they're trying to get away from it because they don't want to be exposed. He has nothing, I think, to hide, and he knows that, and that's why he's just gunning for it. He's confident, he's aggressive towards it, he's angered, he's giving everything he's got to try and basically set the record straight, and he's not trying to hide from it, which is, yeah, it's a good sign that he's telling the truth, and it's a good sign that he believes in what he's saying. I mean, that's all I can get in body language is he may be completely in the wrong. He may have done something horrible, but if he believes that he's in the right, and if he believes what he's done is good, then his body language is going to say that he believes it's good. That's all you can take from it. You'd have to have a look at the actual evidence on what happened, which I don't want to do because that's just a whole rabbit hole that I don't want to go down. You'd have to look at all of that then to make a judgment. So, yeah, let's carry on.
Never heard Apollo Legend acknowledge that I existed at all. I had never spoken to him. I had not acknowledged him since. But 6 months ago, someone who I cared about deeply killed themselves. For those who were there around the time, you would know.
Increased emotion. When he says that somebody new killed themselves, there's a pause and the pitch changes completely and he looks off camera. He is trying to distance himself in this because he's... I'm not sure if it's distancing or if he's in thought. I mean, people usually look up when they're in thought, but he's looking down there to his right. So, yeah, he's clearly very, very affected by this. And I'm hesitant to even talk about this because it's reacting to someone talking about someone they know's death. It's not nice. It's not a scandal. It's a deeply personal and emotional thing to think about.
How much I was affected by Rekful's death and how long I took off.
Notice how fast he says that. He's all over the place with his emotions, and that's good for him because it shows that he's being honest and truthful. I can't tell you what he might be feeling right now because he's going through a lot of emotions, and it'd be stupid of us to really say too much about this. He's just deeply stressed by it and upset.
Streaming, which is very unusual for me, as you probably know, just because I didn't want to face people talking about it or asking me about it. Rekful and I were very alike. I saw him often as being a more extreme version of myself.
So he's showing all the signs of someone who's grief-stricken, upset and uncomfortable and saddened, even thinking about it, which is why you get the long pauses. He's thinking about it, he's recalling it, and then he's trying to avoid it by increasing the rate of his speech. He's trying to get through it as fast as he can because he doesn't want to talk about it. It's a deeply saddening moment for him to recall that. So, yeah.
My flaws and my positives. You never really know a content creator, but in my dark times, I took solace knowing Rekful was out there.
So what he's doing now, he's thinking very strongly about what he's going to say, and that's why he's looking down at the monitor. He's not really distancing himself, but he's in thought and he's making sure to get his words right, and that's why he's looking down and he's delivering everything like that. He's not all over the place like he has been in this video. He's thinking clearly about it because it's very emotional for him. And, you know, the fact that his body language, the way he delivers things, completely changes several times throughout this video just shows that he's all over the place, which is a good sign because it means that he's experiencing so many emotions. He's being genuine. He's not faking anything. He's all over the place. And that is a sign of someone, or that's a sign that he should be experiencing this in a video like this. Which tells that he's being truthful, basically.
Succeeding, despite his problems, made me believe I could too. So when he killed himself, obviously that affected me a lot. A lot. So how does...
Jittery, rapid head movement, sort of almost eccentric. It's understandable. That's what you should be experiencing if you're thinking about your friends or someone you know's death. It's not comfortable for him, obviously. And that's why he's experiencing that emotion. So if you take anything from this, take that he's deeply saddened by this, and it's not a great video for him to be making, but he has to.
Relate to Paul Legend. 6 months ago, we had our second ever interaction when, just after I saw on Twitter that I need time off, I need to cool down, I need to get away from it all because of Rekful's suicide, Apollo decides to flame me on Twitter, call me out, because someone told him that I had committed a heinous crime. Was there any evidence of this? Did he ask me about it? Did he talk about it? No. He presented this insane narrative that I was using this other guy's work and I was refusing to pay him, called me a cheat, a dishonest person, said people like me should be shown to the public. All my anger and sadness came out.
When he says all my anger, his voice quivers, which just shows how much emotion he's going through here. I don't know if he's being truthful about what he's saying there. His body language doesn't change too much. He's still displaying emotions of sadness, very uncomfortable. But he continued to display open body language, gesturing, open gestures, even when he was talking about the accusations, which does actually make me think that he's being truthful about them and that he was right in what he's saying there is truthful. So, yeah, but again, there's not enough material to go on. And remember, body language isn't an exact science. You can be wrong in body language. So I don't want to accuse him of lying just from a couple of seconds of him speaking. So, but it does look quite truthful in what he's saying there.
In the level of disgust that I had, that he would attack me at that point, at my weakest moments. So I made videos showing that what he is saying was wrong, that he lied, that he at least very least misled. $33 to flame me on fucking Twitter, to get himself involved in what even isn't even drama, because it happened like what, a week ago that this guy.
Just a lot of reserved and deeply embedded anger there that's coming out. You can tell as he goes on, his facial expressions are genuine anger. It's not sadness, it's anger. He's very annoyed by what has happened. And that, again, indicates truthfulness, because if you're lying and you've been accused of these things, you wouldn't be showing as much anger if you knew they were true. But he's kind of insulted by being accused of this, and that makes him even more angry. And you can tell when he talks about being accused of this, he gets more and more angry. If he was lying and he did do those things, then you wouldn't be experiencing the same emotion. You'd be simply annoyed that they outed you for it. You wouldn't get even more angry when certain details come up, basically.
Thought he deserved $33, despite not completing the work. It was a non-story. But Apollo Legend had passionately hated me for 1.5 years because I called him out for defending a white supremacist.
A lot of head nodding there again, and a lot of open body language. He's confident still in what he's saying. It hasn't changed. His baseline hasn't shifted at all, really, in this video. So it makes me believe either the whole thing's genuine and true, or the whole thing's fake and he's very good at lying. I don't think that that's the case. I think the whole video is truthful. He's being honest about what he's saying. Even more so about when he's been accused of things. I think he's being truthful. He gets even more angry when he talks about that, as if he's thinking about it, and he gets even more insulted by the fact that he was even accused of it. Now, if you're lying, again, I've said this before, you don't do that. If you're found out guilty, you try and avoid it. You don't get even more angry when thinking about what the person did. You just accept, I've been accused of this. Whereas he's just getting more and more angry as the guy, basically, he thinks about Apollo Legends, accusing him of things, the videos that he made. He gets more and more angry. That's not something you'd expect for a liar, really. He's got so much vested interest in defending himself, whereas a liar wouldn't really. They try and defend themselves, but they wouldn't take it to heart like he's taking it to heart. He's insulted by it. And that's something a liar isn't really. A liar doesn't get insulted if you call them out on it. They get angry. Because he is displaying strong signs that he's insulted by it. And you can get that from the exaggerated points, like I'm just doing when he's recalling basically what Apollo Legend said about him.
At the very least, not allowing his audience to see the evidence of why this person was disassociated with the charity. He's hated me since then. So I pointed out that what Apollo was doing was scummy, and my language was very over the top, understandable given the suffering that I was going through, that Apollo seemed incredibly indifferent about. But why am I telling you this all now? That was 6 months ago. How could that be relevant now to Apollo Legend's suicide? Apollo Legend released a video where he talked about the issues that he was going through, his physical, mental issues in and out of hospital, the money he owes in regards to taxes. While he said in the video that no online petty stuff was the reason why he did what he did, he took that one last moment to write a description of the video where he said, "Thanks DarkViper and EZScape for giving me the push that I needed." And he thanked KEEMSTAR. KEEMSTAR.
When he says, and he thanked, his voice cracks just slightly, which just shows the emotion that he's going through. He's trying to hide it. Of course he's trying to hide it. You would. Otherwise you'd be a mess. But he lets it out there. His voice breaks. He is just saddened by it. He's angered by it, but more so saddened. And yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, really, to be honest, with his channel now, because when someone kills themselves and accuses you of it, you can't overturn that, really. You can't argue because the person's gone. So, yeah, not nice.
For being a good friend. That certainly sounds like the Apollo legend that I came to know. In the small way that I knew him.
In the small way that I knew him, his voice breaks again. He looks at the camera when he says, "That's the Apollo legend I came to know." That indicates honesty. When you look at the camera, when you look at the person you're talking to and you say stuff, even though you have a monitor there, he still decides to look up and deliver the line. Whereas if you were being untruthful or not sincere about what you were saying, when you said it, you try and distance yourself. You try and look away. He doesn't do that. Throughout this whole video, when he's making a strong point, he always looks back at the camera. He doesn't distance himself. He doesn't try to run away. Again, confidence. I 100% think, or 99% think, that he is being genuine and that he is super confident that he's in the right and he's trying to clear his name. That's what I'm getting from this video. I don't think I need to watch any more of this. But yeah, I'll tell you now though, I won't be reacting to the video that Apollo Legend did before his suicide because that wouldn't be appropriate and I don't want to do that, to be honest. Hopefully I've kind of, I don't want to take sides, but I hope I've cleared his Dark Viper's name a bit. I hope his fans, if you're watching this, you see it and you think, okay, he's being honest about what he's saying at least. But again, I'm not here to tell you who's right or wrong. That's up to you to decide. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that subscribe button as it really does help the channel grow. And yeah, thank you for watching.